In this Market Explorer video, we're going to go over our VWAP pullback scans. Now, note that I'm going to look at the daily scan, but this applies to VWAPs from IPOs. It applies to VWAPs from large gaps, all different time frames. This is the idea behind the pullback. So as always, you can go into any of our Market Explorer windows. You can right click and click select strategy all the way down to AVWAP. And then anytime you see a pullback or a mention of a large gap or an IPO or something like that, that's going to tell you what it's pulling back into. So let's just do the standard. Let's do the standard weekly pullback. And let's make our weekly chart here very large so we can see this. Now note, anytime you click on a symbol within any of these Market Explorer windows, it's going to draw this for you. Now, about the strategy itself, I highly recommend and will in every video Brian Shannon's book, which all of these scans are based off of, Maximum Trading Gains using Anchored VWAP. But the idea here is that often these anchored VWAPs can be areas that institutions enter and exit orders. So what the pullbacks do is they pick an anchoring point based off whatever we're looking at. So for example, the anchor here is the low here on the weekly chart, which will quite often be a very significant turning low. And then it anchors it, and it's looking for stocks that are within a certain amount of ATR, but basically, simply put, a just certain percentage away from this anchored VWAP. And as I click through, you can see that this is the case for all of these. They're all kind of in this type of area. Now, it is sorted by the length of the VWAP. So how far away and how long it's been trading over the anchored VWAP. That's the natural sort right here. But at any time you can click through. So if I just double click this header, you can see it kind of jumbles the prices, but I can actually then sort those as well. So this is for the 10th now. I can go through and I can say, well, MGI is very high in its range, but also LKQ is also very high in its yearly range as well. I can do 20-day range, which would be 4 candles. I can do 6-month range, and I can click through these kind of as I see fit, basically looking for things that are high up in their range. Now, we'll also just take a quick look here at the IPO scan, but this is the same idea in which basically it's looking for stocks that are anchored in their IPO, and now they're around that range as well. So this one might look better on a daily chart, but if we just take a look, we can see, okay, this SDRL has pulled back into the anchored VWAP from its IPO. Now, this is another one that's mentioned in the book. The idea being that people that use anchored VWAP on an intraday chart are anchoring it from the very beginning of the day. But for an IPO, it's being anchored from the very beginning of that stock's life. So by changing the anchor point on this pullback scan, we're basically looking for where things are significant, right? So here is the pullback from a large gap. So it's looking at this big gap that happened here on VIST, and at least this morning before this ramp up happened, it was sitting right in that range. So that's the pullback strategy. I hope that helps. If you are not subscribed to the Anchored VWAP add-on, you can do so in the link below, or you can go over to tradeideas.com and add that to your account.